Welcome, everybody, to the very first After Hours podcast. We're here to talk about real people, real challenges, and real solutions within the ERP space, especially IFS. So, my name is Robert Perez. I'm an internal IFS specialist. My guest today is Ellis Saczak, an IFS Headhunter. How's it going, Ellis?
Yeah, going good, thanks. Been a good day, pretty busy. What about you?
Yeah, same. So yeah, like the title mentioned, it's after hours. It's just like, after work. And yeah, man, just I've been doing this for like 12 years working in the IFS space. Um so I just thought, start a podcast. And let's
I
talk
like
about it.
it.
Let's talk about we could never really see a couple of people that works in like such a different types of work in IFS. Like you're a headhunter and I'm actually
hmm
working in cloud at the moment. So I thought, yeah, we'll just do that. We'll just have a chat, and open up the discussion to the audience as well when this hits LinkedIn or everywhere else like it could like hit. So yeah, thank you for joining me. By the way,
Thanks
yeah,
for having me.
yeah. So you want to talk about like how we knew each other? I think that's
Yeah,
probably a good start, right?
yeah, no, of course, of course. I'm an IFS headhunter. Been doing this for the last couple of years now. Just for context, I help build teams for a lot of the IFS partners, and then help find people for IFS customers, pretty much globally. To be fair, just this year I've done things in like the Nordics, loads in Germany, loads in the UK, loads in the US, and I suppose we've known each other for a while. And most recently, we helped you find a new job
I did.
with a really cool IFS Cloud customer.
Yes. No, yeah, absolutely. So that was a time when I wanted to switch it up. I was doing purely CRM and technical for the IFS space. Um, and yeah, I did that for like 5 years. So yeah, really did my thing there.
hmm
And now I think, there's nothing better than actually going into an IFS customer, experiencing it firsthand as the end user. Like I said, we're talking about different experiences here. Um, yeah, and so far it's been a couple of months, and yeah, I'm loving it. This certainly different, man. Like the job is
Yeah.
different.
How have you found the transition from going from, say, working at a partner where you're just implementing the system to being on the complete other end,
Yeah,
like post go live?
yeah. So no, that's a good question. So I would say I would say I forgot what it was to have an open, almost like an open contract to go.
Mm,
All right, this is all the company's issues. Work on what you can, and the funny thing is, it's like obviously I get priorities and stuff, but it's pretty open ended. I think that's, and obviously I see the perspective now working with the consultancy. I see the perspective now from being back to being a customer.
yeah, I bet.
It's definitely a lot more chilled in the way that you don't have to justify where you are and why you're there, because
Yeah.
we know like in the consultancy market, that's the money game, really.
hmm
What are you doing, how long are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm just like, cool, I've got some jobs to do, I'm gonna
I bet
get.
it's more fun as well instead of just doing like you were doing mainly CRM, right?
Yes.
I bet it's really cool now being able to utilize your other skill sets and get involved with other activities.
Yeah, I mean, I was doing some technical as well before,
hmm
but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think, I wanted to say, right, how can I? Because obviously, like with consultants, they get, as you know, they're like, right, what's the job,
hmm
what's the contract length, and what's your specialty? So, I mean, I've done what I can for it. I know that there's some exciting stuff coming with AI with CRM, but I just think, I think I challenge IFS to actually go and look at Salesforce and go, what can we do to take the best of this?
yeah,
And then funny enough, I already spoke to some of the higher ups in IFS. Like I just gave them my honest feedback, and it's cool that they did that. Like
yeah.
honestly, I'm hoping to get some of them on the podcast. That's like like
That would be so cool.
throwing hopes and dreams up in here. And
That
also,
would be so cool in the different modules. Like you can get someone who's like the, I don't know, head of CRM, head of HR, head of
yeah, yeah,
finance.
yeah.
Like that would
And
be
like,
really cool.
what's
I'd
the
be really
developments
interested to
like?
watch
You
that.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
like peek under the hood, give us some improvement. So yeah,
Hmm.
honestly, like I'm aiming for that. But obviously, right now we're probably gonna start with like only the people we know are gonna join. It's gonna be like I don't know,
You
three
have
or
to put
four
up with me
people.
for now until
Yeah,
until
we
we
have
get
to
big
start.
enough for them.
Yeah,
I get
yeah,
you.
yeah. We have to start somewhere. I mean, personally, like as you know, I already have a podcast for like the
Yeah.
not crypto, but like NFT and
Mm.
digital collecting space. And I interview actually a lot of people working in DC Comics and Candy Digital. So a lot of people doing digital stuff already, but it's like quite niche. Like I think around 500 people are there. But if you think about the IFS market, it's supposed to be niche. Like it's supposed to be a niche
Mm.
market, but actually I mean, I've seen the people in Unleashed, right? Like, Christ, like, there
Yeah,
was a lot of people in that room.
I know, right?
So, no, yeah, absolutely. That's where we are, man. And I hope that gives the whoever's watching context to where we are. I mean, this is like this. What I envision this channel to be is really just a place where I could speak to people I wouldn't be able to speak, like in my normal role.
Hmm.
So and yeah, just pick people's brains.
Yeah.
um yeah, so yeah, I hope that's I don't know if I answered the question or not, but like yeah,
No, it's good. I like it.
yeah, cool. Do you want to like just talk to me about like what's your experience with like headhunting, recruiting in IFS so far, and like how's it different? Because I know like when I speak to you, right, I'm actually just surprised. Like it's 2 years, but it must have been good 2 years because I remember
Hmm.
my first 2 years in IFS space, and I was like without like putting it down or anything, but I was just doing support. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
as
I
exciting
get
and
yeah.
crazy as your life is.
It was a complete trial by fire, mate. The first, so it's not at the agency I'm at now, but it was another one. It was a case of just here's a CRM, here's a phone, make do some deals, or you're out of there. So it's a proper trial by fire, but it was really cool though because I got to meet loads of different people,
Mm,
loads of different projects. There's some people that I still think about to this day. I still work with them that really helped me out because there wasn't any like training. I didn't even know what an ERP system was,
mm,
let alone IFS. So there's some project managers that I owe a lot to where they were like, right, Ellis, this is what the system is. If like there was one where I managed to pull a job for a change manager.
mm,
I was like, what does that, what do they do? Like, I haven't even heard of those before. And then, speaking to some people, and they're like, right, so I would hire for a change manager, and this is what I would hire for. So these are the areas you need to look out for. Asking people for referrals. Looking back, like it was crazy that I even called myself a specialist because I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue what was going on, but I suppose that's how you learn. And
mm,
then you fast forward to today. We work with some of the biggest partners. We build teams for customers. Like
mm.
we're doing placements all the time. Done a placement today, so it's it's really cool. But it's one of those. It's like a snowball, really,
Mm.
where it's like the more placements you do, the more people refer you into other places, the more candidates trust you, which is a big part because there's a lot of cowboys in the industry that will say
Yeah.
they've got jobs. The jobs don't exist, puts people off speaking to recruiters in general. So yeah, there's a lot of that, but I think the community is really small. So and because of that, people talk, and when you do good things, the market knows, which is what should encourage other people, other recruiters, to not go around doing shady stuff because everybody knows everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But yes, only been 2 years, but it has flew by, and I really like it. I really like the IFS space. I'm going to be here for a lot longer.
So let's like talk a bit about that, like because obviously sometimes like when I was like doing some applications like and like this is just in general.
Hmm.
I guess like I guess the candidates want to know about this, right? So what could you do like to make yourself stand out and like stay competitive? And how do you, I guess, as you put it, and obviously we'll drill down to
Mm,
the whole cowboy thing, but because it's really a juicy topic.
mhm,
But what do you say? Like, obviously everyone wants to have an edge.
mhm.
Um, yeah, tell me about that. Like
Well, I see a lot of advice get put on LinkedIn. Just don't listen to it. Most of the advice you see on LinkedIn is just so bad. It actually
LinkedIn.
hurts your application, mate. Like so people will say, "Oh, don't tell the recruiters what salary you're on because they're just going to try and get the salary down." Like stuff like that, which and some recruiters might do that, but I mean, I don't do that. And there's other things like, "Oh, in negotiations, you should just say like you're ready to walk," and like stuff like that. I was like, don't do that. Like people see stuff on LinkedIn and try and do it. Luckily, a lot of the people I work with do trust me, and we if they do have stuff like that, we're able to
Mhm.
clear that out. In terms of giving yourself an edge, tailor your CV. 100% tailor your CV. Some people say don't do that. They don't know what they're on about, right? If you tailor your CV, if you see a job description and then you really like it and it's talking about certain areas, like if you've got a lot of experience in like the supply chain module, for example, tailor your CV, because a lot of the time, like when you talk about recruiters, there's two different types, right? There's agency recruiters and then there's internal recruiters. Internal recruiters have like they're filling so many jobs, right? They just don't have time to really understand a lot of these things. So you have to have it really clear. I have experience in IFS supply chain. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Um, I guess when you're working with me, I actually will get to know the candidate and then I do a cover letter tailored to what the clients told me they're looking for. So there's that as well. Most of the jobs which actually go around in the IFS market, you don't even see them on LinkedIn. Most of the jobs which I place, they don't even make it to LinkedIn because I will already know someone to do the job. So that's why relationships with recruiters are so good. Like me and you got to know each other, for example, for a while. And then as soon as that job came up that I knew matched exactly what you're looking for and matched exactly what the client's looking for, there's no need to post the job, right? I already know. And it was sorted within like a few weeks before anyone even had a chance to put it on LinkedIn. So relationships with recruiters are really good. Just make sure they're recruiters that you trust, though.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one, and obviously we could talk forever about this. But I guess what I'm trying to like just follow up on is like,
Hmm.
you know, are you saying like people should be more authentic? Is that what you're saying? Instead of, because I guess, I mean, my biggest gripe with LinkedIn is like it's just full of adverts, man.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
like obviously I've like most of the people that I have connected with are in that bubble of the IFS ecosystem.
Hmm.
I haven't added any Web3 or crypto or NFT people
Yeah.
yet, but yeah, I think obviously you have a lot more connections than me, but like I think I have like over 500, but a lot of it's feeling like although I mean, I'm sure a lot of people spend time in LinkedIn, but they button it up so much
Hmm.
that sometimes it's like, if you look at X, for example, I use X a lot, and which is formerly Twitter or
Hmm.
Facebook. Like, people take on different profiles,
Yeah.
and the LinkedIn one is like sometimes it's so I mean I can't even imagine it. It's so
Everyone's
cute.
trying to sell it. Everyone's trying to
Yeah,
sell something, aren't they, on
yeah.
LinkedIn?
Well,
Yeah, I get
I
it.
mean, that is the game. The game is
Yeah.
like, how are you going to position yourself to employers,
Hmm.
and showcase your skill, and how do the how do the employers filter that out? And sometimes, like, it's sometimes as well, like with interviews, I've been for a few. It really depends if you click or not, as well, right? Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, what would you? I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, well, I mean, if you could summarize it for a couple of words, like, would you say, from what I hear, is it authenticity? Is it actually putting in the work to get your profile going, or is it,
Hmm.
um, yeah, like being resilient? I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess I'm just trying to nail it here, but I know there's a
Yeah.
lot of
Well,
things.
resilience is a big part of it at the moment. Like you'll see some of the jobs which I post, and you'll probably see like 100 applicants within like the first couple hours. It's a bit
Mm.
crazy. And there will be people that they can do the job, but they don't interview well. And then that's like a whole nother thing. I think it's actually more important to be able to interview well than necessarily have the skills. I've seen it before where somebody with 2 years of experience, but they're bloody good at interviewing, man. Like they're so good at interviewing, they get the job over your guy that's been doing it for 15 years. And it's
That's crazy. Wow.
yeah, it's because yeah, well, if you're going to be on a project with someone
You
or
have to
joining
get
someone's
along.
partner or something like that, you have to get along. Yeah,
Mhm. You have to get along.
it's one of those. Oh, the lights just come off 1 second.
Right.
Right.
That's cool.
Um,
We leave that on. That's authentic.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, I would say that's a big part of it. I was thinking about that a lot today because there was a candidate I had in the process like a few weeks ago. He was perfect for the position. When
mm,
I'm speaking to someone on the phone, they're really open, they're honest, and I'm asking them questions
mhm,
purposely to get more information about their projects. And I'm like, oh god, this guy is perfect for the job. Like
mm,
he's done this, and this, and that's exactly what the my client was saying, right?
mm,
And but then when you link the two up, if they just don't gel, I don't know, there's something about it. And I'm thinking, I'm going back to the client, I'm saying, right, no, he's perfect for the job. Like
mm,
this is such a hard job to fill, and he's done it. And he's like, well, he must just not communicate. In that case, then it's his communication skills of not being able to do it in an interview.
mm.
And but interviews are nerve wracking, though, aren't they?
Yeah,
So it's like,
interviews are
oh, where
so
do you
crazy,
stand?
man. Like
Wait, it's a
it,
tough
it,
one.
interviews are so mad because it feels like a numbers game, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's also like, I mean, to me, right? Like nothing beats being completely authentic with whoever's hiring you,
Hmm.
just because you have to work there after. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like you could say X, Y, and Z, but if you can't deliver on what you just said,
Yeah.
like you are gonna look really like you're gonna feel really bad. Like if you go
Hmm.
in. Um, no, this is interesting, man. So, like, what have you heard so far? Like coming away from like the whole headhunting and recruitment and stuff, because obviously we'll probably go back to that anyway soon, but I've got like a different kind of tangent question for you. It's like what have you heard for, like, why do you think IFS is booming? Like, maybe that's just a simple,
Mm.
too much of a simple question, but it really has some staying power, right? I mean, I've been working there 12 years. Yeah, I guess ERPs are just, they're just,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
IFS in particular, it's just a great product. People that are like customers that I speak to, if they've gone from another system before, they really like it. I think that's probably the biggest part, right? Because a lot of ERPs come and go.
Mhm.
Like there was a time where JD Edwards dominated the market, but that's not the case anymore. And I think it just shows. It seems like they're really progressive. You can see that with like the MD, like Steph Paul. There's not. I don't know if there's many other sort of like ERP business ERP vendors with like a woman MD. I remember when I first heard about that. She's got quite a good podcast as well. One of my colleagues was on
Yes.
that one. I
Is it women in ERP, right?
I
Yeah.
think I think that's what it's called. She started that before
Mhm.
she became the MD, I'm pretty sure. But I don't know, it's just things like that, right? The I have been seeing there's more businesses which have been coming from like legacy systems or like SAP or Dynamics over to IFS. Because of course it's my job to keep to when businesses are doing selection projects, when they're doing IFS projects, so I can get like freelancers or permanent people on those projects.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I'm seeing a lot of good things. I think next year is going to be so busy. It's going to
Mhm.
be crazy. I'm well looking forward to it. I'm just hearing a lot of businesses upgrading and that type of thing. It seems
Mhm.
like it's a really busy period. They're just doing very well at selling the system.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just to add on top of that, like it's kept my interest for like this long. Um,
Hmm.
and just there is a lot to do. Like there is like, to me at this stage, obviously everyone's in a different stages of their careers, but I've worked like different roles, like support, technical, um, implementations, upgrades as a partner, as working as a partner consultant, working
Hmm.
as now for a customer, and now cloud. I think
Yeah.
I think it's just there is a lot to do. Like,
Mhm.
and I think working with customers, it's like, or when I say customers, but working with actual people that use the system,
Mhm.
I can't tell you, man. Like, there's different proficiency levels. There's, at the end of the day, we're dealing with business data,
Yeah.
and I think IFS has that. They could really configure it. Like, they can make it tailored into what the customer needs or what a business would need. But I think it's also a fickle beast that if you're not careful, costs will spiral. Uh,
Mhm.
if your team chemistry isn't great, then you're gonna be left with, your team will be picked apart, like, by the market. Like,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that um you got to do right. But if you do it right, you see some of the business really, and a lot of the business really, like, gain value from it. Like,
Yeah.
they improve, like, they improve their outputs. And I've seen it, like, I'm not just
Mhm.
saying this, like, literally, like, I've been working at this. Like, I haven't done the sales role,
Yeah.
this, so I'm not like, I've seen it work. So
Mhm.
yeah, no. You mentioned as well, like, gonna be a busy year. Is that because of cloud upgrades?
I think so. Yeah. There's a lot of cloud upgrades that are going to be happening.
Yeah, so basically, like, so right now, I heard it's around 1 in 4 customers that are in cloud already. So I guess
I think I've seen that on LinkedIn as well. I'm not too sure
yeah,
where
so,
I've seen it, but I did see it somewhere on the internet.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
so a
there are a lot
couple,
of businesses that are going to be planning on upgrading.
yeah. So if you think about that, right? So obviously, I'm working with a customer now that is using
Mm.
cloud. It's not just the GUI change. It's not just like, it feels it's actually, I'm starting to get really into it, and
Mm.
I prefer it. I prefer it.
Yeah.
I But I think there's gonna be a lot of discussions with, obviously, the money and stuff. But I think they're discontinuing support anyway for apps 10, right? Like March 2025, I believe. So customers, they'll be they'll be heavily thinking about this now because of that.
Yeah.
Let's put
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
On the topic of that, how so you were using the older versions of IFS for a long time. How have you found the transition to cloud?
Yeah, so funny enough, like, I've had hands-on with, like, 7.5, 8, uh, a bit of 9, and then we were early adopters for 10,
Mhm.
and 10 a lot, and then cloud. I really like it. I think, if I give my honest feedback, I'm getting used to, because I've done, like, training courses and stuff, but
Yeah.
it's different when I'm back as a customer now, like, using it in this, really in the trenches, because I guess for consultants, if I was a consultant, I would do it for multiple customers. I'd never get embedded into the
Mhm.
culture of literally working at one company. And it's like, how can I describe this? It's like every customer is an organism, and you can be in that ecosystem for about a year if you're doing implementations.
Yeah.
So some consultants get assimilated, like, proper feel like they're an employee, and that's one of the,
Mhm.
I love that. That's one of the best parts of, for me, being a partner, like, partner consultant, or like just an independent one, which I haven't actually been yet. But for this one, right, like, cloud is, it feels more natural. So there's things like, um I don't have to click save now. Like, I can just click away somewhere and it's just gonna save the record for me.
Yeah.
There's things like, um there's things from 10 that they're building to cloud that, um I think cloud's just got so much more flexibility. I really rate it, man. Like, I do. Like, I think I think it's a lot better. And the thing is, I've asked this with, so the first thing I did when I'm coming into the new role I had was, I said to him, have you, because these guys have used IFS 9 for, like, forever, like, over, I can't remember, like 7+ years. And I said, like, how was your transition to cloud? I asked the same question you asked me, and they were like, like some of them were like, I really like it, and some of them were like missing some of the fields or the screens. But that's obviously a different discussion. That's like a whole job in itself to make sure that like what you have before doesn't get lost, like, or at least like some of the
Yeah,
key features. So but they do that anyway on an upgrade. They talk about all that. um
yeah.
so I think like I'm excited, man, because cloud's gonna get AI pretty soon, like
That's
November.
really cool. I'm
Like
really cool to see what happens with that.
yeah. So yeah, let's talk about that, man. Like yeah, AI. Like let's just talk about AI in general, I guess. Like what have we found?
AI in general. In um in my agency, it's not like we only do IFS placements. We've got a team of IFS people, but outside of that, they do pretty much everything, including AI. So they are very heavily into it. Like they read, um, like all these I don't know what they're called, but like all these like papers and like these like
What
academic journals and things
is this?
like that.
Is this one of the customers that you've spoken to? Or
So this isn't something so this is one of the people that works in my office. They
okay,
only do AI
okay, okay.
recruitment,
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
and to
gotcha.
find AI people apparently is very difficult. You have to read all these
So it's like
academic
an
journals.
AI headhunter. That's what that.
Yeah, that
Oh,
our AI team is very, very good.
did
They
they
do
speak?
placements all the time.
Did they speak to like machines, or did they speak to actual people?
Yes, he speaks that
Are
they
they, are they, are they talking to artificial intelligence? Are they talking to sentient AIs now, or what's happening?
they're speaking to the people that are creating the sentient AI. It's pretty cool.
Hang
But
on,
some
hang
of the
on,
stuff they
hang on.
say is
Let's put a
really
cap on
scary,
this. There
man.
is no sentient AI yet, right? As far as we know.
I
Careful,
don't know.
don't breaking that. Don't breaking that. Don't break that because we are gonna get discredited straight away. Like,
Well, they're the people that talk. They're the people that they're placing these people onto these projects where they're doing like, all this AI stuff, and some of the stuff what they think is going to happen with the whole industry is a bit crazy. Like they think that loads of people's jobs are going to get wiped out, but they're still going to
okay,
have.
calm down, calm down.
I
Like,
know, man. It's
people
terrible.
worried. Like, yeah.
I'm like, that's literally the opposite of what I do. I find people jobs, and you're telling me you're building systems to take jobs away. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, let's talk
So,
about that. Let's talk about that because that is a real thing. I think
hmm
this is the thing, though, right? Like, and it's tougher. It's tough because that is a real thing. But I do think it's like if you're watching this podcast or you're chilling out on LinkedIn and you're seeing this, what would you rather be? Would you rather be in the side of the people that are prepared for the change or just panicking and doing nothing, right? I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah, no, I
same
get
with
you.
life. Like you have to
Yeah,
find ways to push the limit for
hmm
yourself. Otherwise, you're just gonna get stagnant, right?
yeah.
So in your career, it could be
Do
anything.
you use AI at the moment for just like sort of day to day stuff or work or anything like that?
So I've used it recently. Actually, there's a lot of things like I could talk about. So um, things like obviously ChatGPT. The funny thing is I've asked it a couple of things because I moved to London recently, like once a year, like for for about a year now.
hmm
So I've just asked it questions about cycle routes, things like what to do nearby. Asked it like really personal questions like should I have a baby or not? Like things like that. Like I've asked it like all these things, right? I've asked it like what's it
What
like?
did ChatGPT say?
Oh no, I didn't specifically ask it should I have a baby. I asked it things like what are the pros and
Mm,
cons of having mate, no one can afford kids right now. They need to raise everybody's salaries. Anyway, that's just a
mm,
hot take. Um I think like I've mashed up all these questions to it. Like right, like what's Japan's like take on like different cultures, and I don't know. I just ask it. I've asked it like a bunch of questions, and because ChatGPT is only up to date until 2023 last year,
Yeah.
So it doesn't access real time info. From what I'm hearing,
Mm.
IFS AI would have features of tapping into the internet if you wanted to. Like I think those things, and again, from what I hear so far, is some of it might be paid or not. Like especially if it's trying to do more and it's like a paid service, and then there's free features. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm going away. But
So
anyway,
it's so, so
Chat GPT. So God, before you ask that question, I just want
yeah,
to.
yeah.
So Chat GPT, I've been asked this, or I've been asking it questions.
Mm.
The best thing I've done, Ellis, is say roast me based on all my questions. And mate, the answer it gave me
No
was
way.
was absolutely. It was like an answer your dad would give you. Like your dad is hard up on you that wants
Mhm.
to like beat you into like doing well in life. He's gonna literally say all these things. It's like um it said something to me like roast. I said roast me based on my previous prompts, and it said something like you're in London, you can do anything you like you shouldn't be bored. And it said something like you're asking me about staying fit. Well, you could just go downstairs, as you said, to the gym downstairs, and like you're one of the most vibrant places in London. It was like, and stop putting off having a kid or something like that. And I was just like, holy smokes! Like I was like, it really is. It's like a window to your soul if you're honest with it.
Mm.
It doesn't store like personal info, not yet. Anyway, I think there's a lot of fears into it. I think AI is brilliant. I think it's still prompt based. There's lots of people overestimating AI. I think um we've seen it like thrown around, and then there was someone who made the post. Someone said, I think it was Pete McDermott. He was like, yeah, I'm away on holiday, hope you guys are having fun in Unleashed, and yeah, tell me how many times the word AI has been thrown around.
Yeah.
Because it could get buzzwordy. I
Yeah, well,
think.
that's the case at the moment. Like, I'm not saying in IFS, but just everything's saying they got AI in. Like a LinkedIn, of course, a big part of my job is LinkedIn, and there's a tool that you can buy called LinkedIn Recruiter, and it pretty much turns like the whole of LinkedIn into like a global CRM, which is great. Right? It's really really useful. But they've just introduced AI, and it's really hard to turn off. And the AI is nowhere near as good at using this tool as I am. So they just keep like, oh, do you want to do this? No, I don't. Can you just leave me alone? And
Hmm.
it slows me down. No
Is
one
that
uses
like
it.
a recruiter tool AI?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's called LinkedIn Recruiter. Yeah, it's really good. But apart from this AI thing, they're just trying to push AI. I don't want to use AI. Like I
Mm.
don't need to. Like I'm fine doing it by myself. And if you try to use it, it's actually worse. Maybe it's because IFS is so specific, so niche that you can't like if I'm trying to find a finance consultant for one of the partners or a customer or whatever, they don't just need to they need to ideally know the latest version of IFS and have experience in all the modules they're implementing, not just someone from NetSuite or someone from Infor or whatever. Granted they could do it, but if someone's coming to me, it's they're coming for like a real specialist, right? And LinkedIn Recruiter AI doesn't know that. They're just trying to get in my way.
But
So it's quite
but
annoying.
but ultimately, though, right? Like you, AI is
Mm.
just looking for keywords in people's profiles, right? Like ultimately,
Mhm.
right now, there's not many people like me who will be streaming to LinkedIn, and they can't even. I'm not even sure if they could just decode. I'm sure they could subtitle everything I'm talking and saying
Mm.
now, and then find that,
Yeah.
in the future. But it's not to underestimate AI, but
Mm.
I still think we have some ways to go. Obviously, we're gonna get there a lot faster, but I think it's good to just play and keep an open mind rather than be in the dark. You know.
Yeah. I get you. I was looking at like an AI thing for this is more so just for like recruiters in general, but there's like a recruiter CRM. It's like it's like an AI CRM type thing, but anyway, it pretty much listens to all the calls you do,
Oh my
and
god!
then it will take notes for you, and then it will put people into different folders. Like, oh, this person mentioned that they work for a partner, or they're based in London and they know IFS technical. They got cloud experience.
Right.
And then you ask the AI, who in London has got technical experience, open to work.
It's
So
great.
in theory, it sounds amazing, right? But I do that anyway.
Hmm.
But the point of it is that, oh, now you don't have to make notes anymore because the AI will do it.
Hmm.
And I think that's a big part, really, that it can be quite annoying, like making notes, because then sometimes you miss what people say when you're making notes, and that type of thing. So,
Well,
but it's really cool though.
yeah, I mean, I've heard that. So report writing is one of my favorite things in IFS.
Hmm.
Because what is an what ERP system? It's like it's a system that's designed to help your business functions, right?
Yeah.
And what's the output? The output is the data that people put in and take out. So the report is what you put in, basically.
Hmm.
But there's been talks like AI is going to help write reports now, and even training guides. I don't know if you knew. So things like
That would be really cool.
show me how to raise a purchase requisition in IFS, and I don't know if it's going to write it up for you or it's going to take you to the help page because there
Mm.
are useful help pages in IFS. So that's pretty cool. However, if you're going to say, right, show me a report based on, I don't know, how long it took to approve purchase orders in the system,
Hmm.
based on who the approver is. I would love to have a look at that. And then I'd love a way to verify it because you have to verify it to see if it makes sense. So for some
Yeah.
report writers, I'm pretty sure they'd want to do that, not just take AI's word for it, because
Hmm.
AI is also prone to mistakes, as you've just rightly put.
Yeah.
So I think I'm really excited. Like the funny thing is, right? So Apple, like the iPhone 16, is releasing iPhone. I'm actually just 1 year behind. I have the 15 Pro Max, right? I've got the 15 Pro Max, and now I have to upgrade again just to get AI.
You
Right?
want
'Cause it's
it?
that same freaking phone, right? And
Hmm.
like it's it's frustrating because it's not a cheap phone, right?
Yeah.
But I think, and the funny thing is, so that's releasing. I don't know if it's even been released, but I think November IFS is releasing in 24. They're releasing the first AI features, but it'll take some customers some time to get there, and it's almost like this as well. Like when you talk about software upgrades, and I'm telling you from a perspective of, do you want to go in as the first customer? And a lot of everyone's and even like partners recommend this is you don't want to be the first one, but someone has to. So to the
Hmm.
brave customers out there, if you're watching this and if you're gonna upgrade to 24 straight away, but a lot of them would keep it in their test environments, obviously. But
Hmm.
um anyway, so where was I? Yeah, no, I'm getting lost in my own tangles. But I think the timing of these AI upgrades are pretty fast. Like Apple's doing it, IFS is doing it this like
Hmm.
next month. It's like I think that's great. But there's a lot of people that are scared of this, and we talk about the jobs being lost and stuff. Oop,
Oh,
it's fine. They're trying to lock you in the building right now.
I know. And plus, there's like a neon sign in this room as well. So when the lights go off, everything just turns bright red. It's like from Halloween.
Oh, that's
From
perfect. That's
horror film.
like the after hours like
Yeah.
logo I'm trying to build, which is in progress, by the way, guys, because we're just spitballing here for the first podcast. And let me know if you enjoyed this, if we should do more, if you want to come on as a guest. This is an invite to you. Talk about IFS, obviously, just because we do that primarily. You're more than welcome. But yeah, dude. So I think AI, man. It's just this is the funny thing, right? Like it used to be, it felt like science fiction, and even there was something I was watching a YouTube clip today. How even the Turing, the guy who invented computers as we know it,
Hmm.
even he's bloody afraid of it. I think a lot of people are afraid of change and how deep AI could get. But I would rather be in the side of seeing what's possible. Um,
Yeah,
'Cause
people they just hope these companies are being careful. I think that's the main thing, right? Like, and
Hmm.
the thing is, everyone's racing. There's like an AI race going on.
Race, yeah,
No
there's an
one's
race.
careful in a race, man. Like, it's just one of those. Try not to think about it.
But even just IFS though in general, or
Yeah.
any IT market.
Yeah.
Actually, just freaking waking up in the morning and like logging into, or even even building your own company, it's a race. Like,
Mm,
you're trying to build the next thing. I think it's just normal. I think, yeah, but you would rather be on the side of being interested, in my opinion. Like, just dip your toes into it. Like, yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. But we talked about a bit about like the cowboys in the market, right? So let's talk a bit about that. Like, let's talk about that. What are we gonna put it? And because
well,
this
it's
is a
just because,
podcast, this is an after hours podcast. This is not an
yeah.
official podcast. This is just something that I thought will be cool to see, like two people talking honestly,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk a bit about this. I mean, for me, like as a candidate, right?
Hmm.
There's nothing more frustrating than running around empty job adverts, um, running around interviews where you just feel like they've already made their mind up, and you're in a wheel of 20 candidates,
Yeah.
you know, um, or speaking to people just harvesting your information, right?
There's a lot of that.
Worse, headhunters thinking they're gods, right? And they control your fate. Like, because in any market that's as, I want to say, lucrative, as fast paced as IFS and any ERP system, you're rife to get a lot of this, right? And it's very competitive. I mean, you'd know more, but tell me some of the things you've seen, without naming names and throwing people under the bus, obviously, because we are not that type of podcast. We're not gonna get
Yeah,
back.
no, I won't do that. I think it starts
Anyway, I'm
with
gonna try not to get cancelled my first episode. Like,
yeah, I suppose it starts with just the low barriers to entry for recruitment. Like anybody with a phone and a LinkedIn account can call themselves a specialist recruiter and then go around and start harvesting people, start, harvesting people's
harvesting
information.
organs.
No, what they do is worse. They put fake jobs out, and then everybody just people are applying for them, and it affects me because candidates they could be a great candidate for the role. They could be open to work, but don't want to speak to recruiters because maybe they spoke to like 20 recruiters already, right?
Hmm.
And none of them have got anything for them. But everybody's like, "Oh, I've got something in the pipeline," or blah blah blah. It's why one of the things that I do, I will post. I'll post recommendations on my LinkedIn like as soon as I get them,
Hmm.
just to show people, like we're actually making lots and lots of placements. Like you should you should trust me. Like I can give you information about the market, even if you're not looking at the moment and that type of thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's a bunch of just craziness that goes on, man. Like
Tell me a
it,
story. Tell me a couple of stories. I mean, we could sit here all
mm,
day and talk about this, but and I actually don't mind, because I think there is not enough light shown on these topics. Like, because whenever I looked at LinkedIn, it just looks too polished to me. I know companies are trying to protect their image, their reputation, and stuff, but
yeah.
stuff out there, man.
Yeah, like I mean, some stories. So there's one that happened not too long ago. To be fair, there was like a HR requirement in Europe, and there was a there was a candidate that I put forward, and then another agency had contacted them. I don't know what they said to the guy, but he ended up getting like just getting worried about it. And this isn't the first time that this has happened as well. Like it's also happened with another HR person before, where the other agency would call them and say, we're really well known in the market. They're gonna do all this stuff if you don't either withdraw from the process or say to the client that they want to work through us, right? Which isn't legal. Like, you know what I mean? If we got signed terms and I've sent your profile over, you can't just go with another recruiter because you think that I'm nice and I'm not going to do anything about it, and then like the other one is saying, oh, they're going to do all the sketchy stuff. So not only are we recruiting, like we're we've got to try and spin all these plates, finding clients and candidates. But sometimes other agencies will do what they can to make you not get the job or to push you off the project, just so then they've got a chance of doing it. Some agencies don't play by the rules. There's stuff like that that happens, and that's probably the most annoying thing. If
So
someone says they're taking a counter offer, yeah, do you know what I mean? If that's what you want to do, that's fine. Like, but the other agency thing is just it's well annoying, man.
so
Like,
so not everybody's for the spotlight, right? So like I said,
mhm,
I've got a podcast on digital collecting, and
mhm,
another one you guys could check that out on my profile. But not everybody's made for the spotlight. So people that are stuck here are people that are trying to feed their families at the end of
mm,
the day. And you get this, which is because I guess that's also your lifeblood. Your you're dependent on getting the role. The candidate's dependent on getting the role, but there's
mhm,
only one headhunter that could get the role.
mhm,
And it's not like you said, it's not just the job, like the companies that are hiring that's difficult. There's also other headhunters that, as you put it, put people off, right?
mm.
And then, but I'm sure there's also shoddy candidates, but that might be easier. There's just
Definitely.
so much
There is,
market.
there is some pretty crazy candidates I've worked out, which I've worked with, to be fair. But I understand it from the candidate's point of view though, because it's a big move. Like if someone's moving jobs, and then luckily no one never shows up for interviews. I see on LinkedIn other recruiters like, oh, this person didn't show up for an interview.
Yeah, you see,
Luckily,
and the funniest post,
luckily
the
that don't
funniest,
happen for
po-
me.
the funniest posts on LinkedIn are like, "This is the real deal. Are you wasting money on this? This isn't." And then like some of them, the candidate didn't show up. I love those. Those are the posts that
They
go,
are they
yes,
are funny.
those are the real posts. Like but
Someone once told me, someone I used to work with, they don't do IFS recruitment. They do, I think they do like manufacturing or something like. Oh no, it was something. I think it was just like I don't know, just some general recruitment or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
Because the client was a police. It was in a police station, right? So the guy gets someone interview prepared to go and do an interview in the police station, right? The
Mhm.
guy shows up for the interview. The police officer like, did you drive here? Yes, the candidate was smelling of alcohol. He got arrested, right? He got arrested for drink driving, and then the guy, and then
On the way to the interview. Oh my
no, at
god!
the interview. So he
At the
showed up
interview.
because the person that was interviewing them was a police at the police, right? So he showed up drunk to Oh my god! And then, right, the recruiter is calling them, saying, trying to be like, "Oh, how's the interview gone?" Can't get hold of him obviously because he's in a cell for the next 24 hours. And then after they, after he finally gets hold of him, the candidate's like, "Oh yeah, oh the interview went well. I think I got the job, right?" Right. And then the client calls in, asks for that recruiter's boss, like straight away. So he's like, oh, maybe something's going down. And then, of course, they were like, what the hell have you just done? You've just sent sent a drunk to come and interview, and I've arrested
Mm,
him.
mm,
So yeah, they lost the client. So stuff like that can happen. That's but it's pretty crazy. Luckily, IFS is completely different. It's a different type of role to that
mhm.
that I recruit for and that type of thing. But also a lot comes down to just qualifying people. I don't send people to interviews unless they really want the job. We're not trying to push people into doing things. We make enough placements. I think some of the worst unethical practices that comes in recruitment are people that are really desperate to make a placement. Like if you don't make a placement for 6 months in most places, you can end up, getting fired or something, right?
Well, I
So
mean,
people could be on month 5. I got to make a placement. I've got kids. I'm gonna lose my job or whatever. So it's one of those. They need training, if anything. They don't need to be making more calls and doing what they can to make place. They need training because there's a lot of business out there.
yeah, there is. I think, um, yeah, I think just the space in general is very competitive,
Hmm.
and just these things just happen. But I think there's a lot of gray areas as well. Um,
Yeah.
but no, I guess there is no. no answer to, like complete answer to this. There's no solution to this. It's just
Hmm.
you'll just come across this and you just have to deal with it. In my opinion, like what can you
Hmm.
do? This is where we are. Um, Ellis, we're actually coming up to the 50th minute. Is there anything that you want to talk about that we haven't already?
I can't think of anything at the moment. I suppose I'll talk about a couple of the roles which are covered up at the moment. Um, I need IFS PSO candidates, right? They're very rare in the space. I know they're very rare, but we've got multiple IFS PSO roles. So if anyone's listening to this and they know IFS PSO or they know someone that knows IFS PSO, please get in contact with me. But that's it.
Okay, that's your like 2 second chill in the podcast.
I know.
That's all right. It's okay.
Mhm,
No, that's cool. No, thank you for joining me. I think, like I said, I'd love for you to come back on again, and just talk about some things more, like maybe some of the things we talked about before. Um, like I said, maybe like come on and then maybe see if you know a
mhm.
couple more people that would be wanting to come on. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
definitely.
this is again like just an experiment. Maybe we could leave this here. I don't even think there is anything we need to edit at this podcast.
Mm.
We could have done this live. I told you, you didn't have to
Yeah,
worry.
we could have. We could have.
Um, no, you're really, really great. Honestly, you're one of the best guys I know.
Thanks, mate.
Most genuine guys I know. I think you've got a promising, like trailblazing career ahead. And yeah, I hope to see you back on here sooner rather than later, man. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks,
Everybody,
mate.
yeah, awesome. See you guys.
Appreciate that. Catch you later.
Catch you. Bye.